OK, let's get more now on our top story and the surge in support at the European elections for the Brexit Party and the Lib Dems at the expense of the two main parties. I'm joined now by the Labour MEP and Deputy Leader of the European Parliamentary Labour Party, Richard Corbett, and Brexit Party MEP and Director of Leavers Britain, Lucy Harris. Welcome to you both. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Lucy, if I could firstly start with you, many congratulations to you. What now for the Brexit Party?
Well, we're gonna have Brexit. We're gonna do what we can in the European Parliament to make sure our voices are heard as loud as possible. But also, we're gonna send a message to Westminster that delaying Brexit, that not delivering on Brexit, it's going to come back. And the people that we've got behind us, as you can see with the results today, it's been an amazing uproar of people that want to say to Westminster that get on with it. We're waiting. We've been waiting extremely patiently for 3 years, and we want to see it delivered.
What does this mean moving forward? Because there are many people who say that your success was based on a protest vote.
I don't think it's necessarily a protest vote. I think when you look at the Brexit vote, it was a renaissance for politics in this country. People want to see real change. People want to see politics change for good. And I think that's what they're trying to say. Our strapline was there for a reason. They're fed up of not being listened to. They're fed up of politicians sitting on the fence with decisions, not being able to be decisive, not saying exactly what they think and mean. They just want to see honest politics. They want to see ordinary people standing up for ordinary people.
Richard Corbett, a bitterly disappointing night for your party. Who's to blame?
It wasn't as good a result as we'd hoped for, that's true, but it's somewhat of an exaggeration to say that this is a triumph for the Brexit Party. They were, after all, hoping to take over the entirety of the 2014 UKIP vote.
Yeah, but they're the joint largest party in the European Parliament.
Plus a good half of the Tory vote. They were expecting to get well over 40%. They failed to do that.
Yeah, but to be fair to the Brexit Party, they've got 29 seats, 31.7% share of the vote. The party is only 6 weeks old, and as I said, it's the joint largest party in the European Parliament. They've had a cracker, haven't they not? Yeah,
well, it's hardly just 6 weeks old, and in the sense that Nigel Farage previously led UKIP, and it's built around that, around their leader. But look at the wider picture. The total vote for Brexit supporting parties, the Brexit Party, the Conservatives and UKIP, actually went down compared to 2014. The number of seats they won went down compared to 2014, whereas for Remain parties, they went up, both in terms of votes and seats compared to the last European elections. So if there is a message from this election, it seems to be that public opinion is actually not so enthralled with Brexit after all.
Lucy Harris?
Well, I think this is an amazing feat for my party. We only existed about 5 weeks ago. My God, and the amount of people that have come forward to say that they support us is incredible. I think our friend in Leeds is completely wrong on this one. We were famously running on a one policy idea, which was that we wanted to leave the EU, we wanted to see Brexit followed through with, and we wanted to see democracy upheld. The other parties ran on many different ideas. Of course, the Greens were environmentalists, and Lib Dems have other policies that they like to push forward. You know, you can absolutely say that this was a vote for Brexit, whereas the others can be splintered up.
Well, I'm not sure that's completely fair. I mean, fundamentally, if you look at the Lib Dems and the Green Party, their position is about stopping Brexit.
That's one of their main policies, but it's not the only one.
Yeah, but it's going into these European Parliament electorate, it was what they were focusing on the most, is it not?
Well, I think you could find definitely a lot of Remainers voting on those issues, but for a lot of people, environment is a big issue, so they quite equally could be voting for that. There's no certainty of saying either way, but absolutely, for the Brexit Party, they were voting to see Brexit happen.
Richard Corbett, I just want to get your reaction. In the last half an hour, we've had some words from John McDonnell and Jeremy Corbyn. This from John McDonnell. He has said that, of course, we want a general election, but it's highly unlikely we'll go for that, or the Tories will go for that after the results last night. Turkeys don't vote for Christmas. Our only option now is to go back to the people in a referendum, and that is the position we're now in. This from Jeremy Corbyn in the last half an hour. He's sent an email to parliamentarians, and he said that the deadlock in Parliament can now only be broken by the issue going back to the people through a general election or a public vote. We are ready to support a public vote on any deal. That is a major shift from the Labour leader and the Shadow Chancellor.
Yes, I welcome that, and it's justified to put it back to the people because the emerging Brexit bears no resemblance whatsoever to what was promised by the Leave campaign 3 years ago. Remember, they said it would be easy. It's turning out to be rather complicated. They said it would save lots of money that would all go to the NHS. It's turning out to cost a fortune. They said it would be good for the economy. Firms are moving abroad and moving staff abroad. All these things make it so different that it's right to say that it's the people who should decide whether to proceed with it after all or not. It shouldn't just be left to the government and politicians at Westminster.
Lucy Harris, I guess the problem that you have and the Remain parties have is that nothing has really changed. We are still at an impasse. You've got the Remain parties. They attracted, 3.4 and 2 million, the Lib Dems and the Green. Your party attracted 5.4 million votes. We're still stuck in the middle. We're not moving on.
I don't think so. I think I would read it a completely different way, actually. What the Brexit Party has done, it's managed to tell the Tory party that we would like to see, and we will see, a deliverance on Brexit. It's pushing and nudging them into a position where they have to be, where they have to deliver Brexit. So there is not an impasse. I think absolutely there's a way forward. It's about sort of almost giving some guidelines, as it were, to the main parties as to what the general public are thinking and feeling. And as for a second referendum,
you won't ask the public.
And as for a second referendum, it's only people who voted Remain that want a second referendum. And as I'm sure you know, a lot of the work that I've been doing for the past few years with people is looking at the divisiveness of the vote, and it has divided us. Let's be honest, it's absolutely divided us, and the vitriol and the anger and the resentment that has come from it would only be repeated with the second referendum.
Richard Corbett?
I met a group the other day called Remainers Now. They're people who voted Leave in the referendum, but who want a chance to reconsider with a new referendum. And I would submit that those who oppose another referendum, it's probably because they know they would lose it. But certainly, if you say to the public, you can't have a say on the actual Brexit deal, that's tantamount to saying to the public, you had your say 3 years ago. Now you have to shut up and accept whatever the government comes up with. That's not democratic.
Lucy Harris, is a no deal more or less likely on the 31st of October after these European Parliament elections?
Well, I think we've been running on a no deal platform, but that's to put it back onto the table, which puts pressure on our future negotiators to actually give us a better deal. I can see that. I personally would love a free trade deal, and that's something that's never really been put on the table. So I'd be really curious to see what happens next with that.
Richard Corbett, is a no-deal scenario more or less likely after these European Parliament elections?
Well, what's making the no-deal scenario more likely is the idea that one of the Tory party candidates for Prime Minister will go for this, even though Parliament has voted against it, even though it would be terribly damaging for our economy and our security, that somebody like Boris Johnson or one of the others will go for that because they're incapable of negotiating a deal that works for Britain.
OK, Richard Corbett, Labour MEP, and Lucy Harris from the Brexit Party,
Thank
and
you
also
so much.
an MEP. Appreciate your time. Thank you both.
Thank you.